Let's take a moment to inspect the view of the iPad app. To see how the view is created and connected to the template code, we're going to go right to the view in Xcode. We're going to look at mypad worldview controller.xib, the nib file for the main view. We'll start with the file's owner. We can see that the file's owner is in the mypad worldview controller class, which means these two files right here, the header and the implementation file. They own this view. Okay, so that's the file's owner. The view, as you can see, belongs to the UI view class. And we can also see here, as we scroll down, that user interaction is enabled. UI view is an abstract superclass that provides concrete subclasses with a structure for drawing and handling events. The UI view class provides common methods you can use to create all types of views, as well as access their properties. We click the Attributes tab here for the Attributes Inspector. We see that we have an orientation of portrait, a status bar black, and so forth. Down here, the background is set to a white. It opens the color pane. You can close that. You can also use these recently used colors or any of these colors, which is dark gray. But we're going to go back to using white. And if we open the dock by clicking the disclosure button down here, we can see that there is just the file's owner and a view. And that's all we really have here that we need. If we look at the connections inspector by clicking this button, we see that the view is connected to the file's owner. The file's owner also reflects having the view connected to it. And we know by clicking the identity inspector that the file's owner is mypad worldview controller, which is this file here. So how does all this work? The template set it all up for us without us having to lift a finger. But if we look at iPad World App Delegate, we can see that the template supplies the following code which sets things up. mypad worldview controller, okay, is a subclass of the UI view controller class. Its delegate implements the UI application delegate protocol. The protocol declares methods that we can implement in this delegate. Now, this is very standard operating procedure for setting up an application delegate. Now, what we've also have here are two properties. One is the window, which is a UI window, basically object that manages and coordinates the windows. It's tagged with an IB outlet so that the interface builder can discover it, while also directing the compiler into how to create the accessor method that we're going to specify with our synthesize statement when we put those in. So we also have a view controller as well, also tagged with IB outlet. And these two properties, we're going to have to use synthesize statements, and here they are in the implementation file. Both synthesize statements for window and view controller. So the template has provided our accessor methods. The template also provided the application did finish launch with options method, which is to handle the application did finish launching with options message. So just as with an iPhone app, as we saw before, this is where we would use code to override anything we needed to do for customizing the app right after launch. After the delegate receives notification that the application has launched, with, of course, the application did finish launching with options message, the code then makes the window visible. It sets up root view controller property to be the view controller, and it uses make key visible to make the window visible, as well as making it the main window and the first responder for events. So we also see that the code from the template provides methods that we can use if we want to, such as application will resign, application did enter background, which we recently encountered with the iPhone app, application will enter foreground, application did become active, which we used recently to reset our timers, and application will terminate, which we don't really have to use because what's usually happening is that the application will enter the background. This one will be used instead. We also have a deallocation down at the end, and this code takes care of setting up the app and setting up the main window, which is here, this nib file, main window nib. Now, its file's owner, as you can see, is actually UI application itself. Its window is, of course, a class of UI window. If we show the connections inspector, we can see that window is connected to mypad world app delegate. In fact, it's connected to this guy right here. So all these connections are set up for us: the view controller for mypad app world delegate, the window, the delegate itself for the file owner. And as we'll see later, when we turn this into a universal app, we will have to make these connections again in the new version of the app. But for now, we have everything we need to get started with our view and our user interface for our iPad app.